So engaging with our users. So as you saw yesterday, my role is more focused this time on external activities or working with the customers more, making sure that as a product team, myself and Aaron are aware of what the customers are doing and what they're needing with the products. So we have two initiatives that we want to start with the launch of DigitalEd in the next few months. The first one's called the Advisory Group. Now, some of you in the room might be aware that there used to be something called the Maple TA Advisory Group. About 5 or 6 years ago we launched it. And the history was that it was comprised of about 10 or 15 schools worldwide. We met every 6 months in a virtual environment through, I think at the time it was WebEx. And we talked about what was coming in the product. We got their feature lists of what they wanted in the product, what they were hoping to see, what was improving, what they wanted basically for their schooling. And it ran for about 3 years. And what happened was that there were some issues there. The first problem was that the reach wasn't big enough. We kind of capped it at about 10 or 15 schools, but then we stopped there. Just for logistical reasons, we couldn't accommodate more people. And then we also, though, as I mentioned, we only met every 6 months, so it was too infrequent, to say the least. We would talk in January, and then we'd meet again in July, and by then, there wasn't much communication in between. There was a lack of what we were doing. We didn't get regular updates from the customers. It was a total lack of communication from both ends. And then as well, though, because we had users from Canada, United States, all over Europe, and a few from Australia, finding a good time for everyone to meet live in a virtual manner was difficult. We tried to maybe do it at like 9 a.m. Eastern time or 5 p.m. Eastern time to try to accommodate Australia or Europe, but there just wasn't a sweet spot to find that made it easy for everybody. So after a few years, and we noticed that attendance was dropping for these WebEx environments and these meetings, we decided just to dissolve it in lieu of starting up the user summits. So around 2015, when we started the user summits, we also stopped with the virtual advisory group. But through talking now with more customers, we have scheduled with some customers monthly or quarterly meetings where we talk more about what they're hoping to get, where we can be more frank about what's coming in the product. We're doing that more and more with customers, and we're thinking that what we really need is to launch another advisory group, a Möbius Advisory Group that is just more focused on what we hope to achieve with DigitalEd. This is coming in a few months, later on this summer, and what this will be is that it'll be an application process. Schools are able to apply themselves to be a part of this advisory group. It will be an exclusive website that they can log into to obtain certain resources, perhaps certain videos or white papers of documentation, or especially beta environments to try upcoming features to the Möbius platform. It'll also give them the opportunity, though, to talk and collaborate with each other. So it's not just one-way talking from DigitalEd to the customer, but it's the customers having an open area to talk to each other. The communication will go through MöbiusCommunity.com, or commonly known as MapleTACommunity.com. Some of you, in fact I think most of you in this room, have accounts to this website that John Watkins has helped pioneer and launch over the last year, and that is primarily where the discussion will happen for this group. So this new advisory group, if you're familiar with MapleSoft, they have a group called the Maple Ambassador Program, where they log into an exclusive website to obtain certain materials. And we're using the same foundation for the advisory group. It'll be an area online where they can log in to obtain what they need to obtain. We'll forego with the online meetings. It'll instead be more of a direct video presentation where they can watch presentations from the product team on demand when they want to. And then, of course, they can talk with each other and ourselves through MöbiusCommunity.com. So that's coming in a few months. We obviously are waiting for the official launch of DigitalEd in a few weeks. And of course, the web team at DigitalEd will be helping us kind of brand this to be a DigitalEd environment. Any questions about the advisory group at this time? Okay. And the second thing that we want to talk about is something called Möbius Ideas. Coming within a week or two, officially launching in a week or two, this is a space where our customers can submit ideas for the Möbius platform. ideas being feature requests or requests for enhancement, or just what they want to see in the product. It'll allow the users to vote and comment and talk with each other on these ideas to give updates as to what they think they should be. The product team at DigitalEd, myself and Aaron, have a tool that allows us to filter and comment and add status updates and notes to these ideas that the users can see themselves. Now, to show you exactly what I'm talking about, let me just open up this website. It will be located at ideas.digitaled.com. And you can see here, it opens up in a new window. I'll zoom in a little bit here. And it shows you, when you log in, a list of all the ideas submitted by people, users like yourself. Now, this will only be open to, for lack of better words, instructors, teachers, content creators, designers. It won't be open to students. This will probably be for non-students, users of the software. And you can browse and see different ideas submitted by other people. If you like a certain idea, perhaps I like this idea of a chained response area, I can click on it, I can see more information about it myself, I can see who submitted it, I can vote if I like it myself so that it increases the popularity. I can even add a comment to it myself. I can say, don't forget to include algorithmic variables in the passing of responses. I can post my comment, and then everyone can see my comments on these ideas. Now, what's great as well is if you go back to the main page here, you can even see what will not be implemented. So comments by the product team, what is planned to be released in the future. We hope to actually include version numbers going forward on these ideas. And what we feel is there's two key advantages to having this Möbius Ideas Portal online, if you would. The first one is that you, the user, will have your own private account that you can actually see your past submissions, what you submitted, what other people have submitted and commented on yours. It just keeps you organized to know that all your ideas that you've talked to MapleSoft or DigitalEd are located here. Because in the past, perhaps someone has given me a PDF document of 10 ideas. And maybe someone gave Aaron 1 of 5 ideas. And we have these kind of flowing around here at DigitalEd. What we'd rather have is all the ideas in one central location that are easy then to filter and browse and organize for everyone to view and see. And of course, the second and most important benefit this gives the whole user community is it keeps DigitalEd accountable for user requests, right? So if we know that there is a very popular feature request here, it keeps us accountable to implement that in the near future, as opposed to just having it in the background for a certain number of years. This allows us to better see what's been asked, how long it's taken us to actually implement, and so forth. So it keeps us accountable for actually listening to the user group of the product, which I think is very important at DigitalEd. So what I want to get here is that with these two ideas launching in the next few months, we really want to just make sure that you understand that the user feedback is very important to us, especially going forward with DigitalEd. As you saw through Jim's presentation, there's a lot of resources available to better work and listen to the user base of our products, especially those who have already been using it for the last 10 or 15 years. So just to recap, the advisory group will be coming in a few months later this summer. It'll be virtually online, the whole thing. There'll be an exclusive website. You can apply to join at any time. Once it's available for application processes on digitaled.com. And then secondly, the Möbius Ideas area will be launching in a week or two. We'll be sending an email out to all the attendees of the summit itself to give you the information. To register, you just go to ideas.digitaled.com and create an account. There's no application process. We don't have to verify anything. It'll just be available to register freely online with an email account. Are there any questions about my presentation today?
One over here.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to be clear that the Möbius Advisory Group, the application comes from an institution or a department or an individual?
It'll come from an individual at the institution. It'll be for yourself at the institution. If you want to have multiple people, they'll each have to apply to join.
Okay.
And we'll work out the whole process about how we do that in the next few months, but that's the idea. Go ahead.
What happens if you will got thousands of messages each day?
On the advisory group?
Or one of these groups?
I-
You're mad, I think.
Well, I mean, if we have that much collaborative discussion, I think it's a good thing. We'll obviously, of course, we'll have to monitor it in some capacity. We'll have to expand a team or have a more dedicated role to help with that. But I think the more discussion we can have among our users, the better. So I hope it is very popular, and in a few months it is very active, potentially even to what you said at some point. I don't think at first we're concerned with it being that active, but we will handle it if we have to. Okay, great. If you want to talk more about it with me, feel free just to, go see.
Will there be a public bug list so that we don't multiply report the
Right.
same issue?
So this right here, as you could tell, was more of an online form for feature requests and requests for enhancement. Depending on how it handles over the next couple of months, we will eventually as well decide to do a separate bug portal, if you would. So at this time, it's just for feature requests. Bugs will still go through the help team and the customer service team at DigitalEd. But we are thinking that if this is successful in handling feature requests, we'll extend it to also include bug requests as well. There is a separate, through this software, a bug handling system as well. So that's what we plan to do in the next while if this is successful.